some explanation as to why I was being taken in, but Bloody Wand is not one to explain things. By the time we got to the LA 40, I was shaking so bad I couldn't get out of the wagon. I felt the shame that they had to carry me in like a sack of beans. There was a bunch of them already waiting for me in the interrogation room. Tall, fat Johnny with his Hitler mustache, the one called Candido with the curly hair, then a bug-eyed one that kept cracking his knuckles to make it sound like the breaking of bones. They stripped me down to my slip and brasier, and made me lie down on this long metal table. But they didn't buckle the belt I saw dangling down the sides. I have never known such terror. My chest was so light I could barely breathe. Johnny said, "Hey, pretty lady, don't get all excited." "We're not going to hurt you," the one called Candido said. That made me shake all the more. When the door opened and Blank was brought in, I didn't immediately recognize him. A walking skeleton. That's what he looked like. Shirtless, his back covered with blisters the size of dimes. I sprang up, but Bloody Wand pushed me back down on the table. "You lay down nice like you're in bed waiting for him," Bug Eye said. Then he said something gross about what torture does to the necessary organ. Johnny told him to shut up. "What do you want with her?" Blank shouted. I could tell he was scared. "We want her to help us persuade you," Johnny said in a voice that was too calm and rational for this eerie place. "She has nothing to do with this," Blank cried. Are you saying you've reconsidered?" Johnny asked. But Blank stood his ground. "I'm not discussing the matter further unless you let her go." That's when Bug-Eye slammed him with a fist, knocking him down. How dare Scum Dixon turn to the captain. Then all of them joined in kicking Blank until he was writhing in agony on the floor. I was screaming to them to stop. It felt like my very own stomach was being punched, and that's when the pain as bad as contractions began. Then Johnny asked me if I could persuade Blank. After all, Blank, and Blank had all reconsidered. I was so tempted to say, "Hey, Blank, save yourself, save us," but I couldn't. It was as if that would have been the real way to let them kill us. So I told those monsters that I would never ask Blank to go against what his conscience told him was right. Two of a kind, the one called Candido said, "We'll have to use stronger persuasions." I guess, Johnny said. "Tie her down." Bug-Eye stood before me, holding a rod with a little switch. When he touched me with it, my whole body jumped with exquisite pain. I felt my spirit snapping loose, soaring above my body and looking down at the scene. I was about to float off in a haze of brightness when Blank cried out, "I'll do it! I'll do it!" And down I went and sucked back into the body like water down a drain. Next thing I knew, Blank was calling out my name and shouting, "Tell them I had to do it," as he was being dragged away. Johnny seemed in a bad mood at all this commotion. "Get him out of here," he said. Then to Bloody Wand, "Get her dressed and take her back." I was left alone in that room with a handful of guards. I could tell they were all ashamed of themselves, avoiding my eyes, quiet as if Johnny were still there. Then Bloody Wand gathered up my clothes, but I wouldn't let him help me. I dressed myself and walked out to the wagon on my own 2 feet.